Hello and welcome back. In this video, I will demonstrate how to post vendor invoice by considering withholding tax. So we also call it as TDS, tax deducted at source for this withholding tax. Okay. So I'll be using transaction code FB60 to post vendor invoice with considering withholding tax. Okay. I'll be considering withholding tax code using 2% as a TDS rate here. So the accounting entry will be posted here. So if you see here, expense account will be debited with 1000. Okay, on 1000 2% as a TDS will be calculated. Now this 20 will be posted to the TDS payable account, which will be credited basically here. Okay, and the remaining amount will be credited to the vendor, which will be 980. Okay, so let us start with the system demo. So before we start with this posting to this withholding tax, we have to ensure that withholding tax codes or the withholding tax settings are applicable here, subject to the withholding tax to the this business partner here. So I have maintained T1, T2 here, two tax codes here. One is basically applicable for invoice, another is basically for payment. And these are the tax codes here, and these are subject to withholding tax. Fine. Now let us post vendor invoice. I'm using transaction code FB60, which is non-PO invoice here. Enter supplier code, enter this invoice date, withholding tax percent. Okay, I'm not entering amount here purposely. Now we have to select business place and section code here. So that section code is applicable here for the TDS configuration actually, because the TDS configurations are relevant or the configured against this section codes here. So we have to always select section codes here while posting a document. Okay, now I'm entering the cost center since this is my expense GL account. Okay, now input this amount to the vendor code. Okay, now go to withholding tax section here. Okay, now I'll be removing this payment type tax code because uh, if you consider T2, system will again calculate the taxes at the time of payment, but we need only at the time of invoice. So I'm keeping only invoice tax code here. Click on simulate. You see here expense account is debited with 1000. Okay, tax or the withholding tax payable is basically 20, and the remaining amount, which is 980, is basically credited to the vendor account. Click on post button here. Okay, now click on document and display. You can even use transaction code FB03 separately. Okay, now just double click on this vendor line item here, and you can see this withholding tax data here. Okay, we use transaction withholding tax code as a T1 here. You can see base amount as 1000, 20 amount is basically the tax portion. Okay, now click on call of transaction. Yeah, and this is the final accounting entry basically, which will be posted with TDS of the tax rate. Okay, thanks for watching this video. I hope this video is useful to you. Please subscribe to this channel.